Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So Democrats are in trouble, and they refuse to admit it. But it's fine if Democrats cannot communicate to their own base that there's a problem. This will result in Democrats having high expectations of these silly midterms that are coming up. Midterms. In which Democrats are really hoping to win the House and win a couple Senate seats, and of course governor seats, which they won't because there is a red wall in the governor's seats, and we will talk about that in a little bit today. But honestly, looking at this, Democrats are devastating. They used to be the donor party, for the party of the donor class. Then the donor class isn't showing up because they see DNC leadership as weak. In the last couple weeks of this month, we saw the ousting of David Hogg, and actually, 11 days of before Hogg was ousted in a coup, basically declaring that the election was sexist, and therefore, because it was sexist, the results means that, of course, that means it was invalidated, and it was, of course, excusable to rig that said election. So we're going to go ahead today and actually talk about the downfall of the DNC, which is, of course, the Democrats want to talk about Republicans, a potential war in Iran. They want to talk about the mass deportations and the no kings, the uprising, the resistance against Donald Trump, which is really just left-wing populists if you actually put context into it. But this is a distraction to help voters kind of steer away of what's actually happening with the Democrats. And because the Democrats are losing money. They are losing money fast. Donors aren't giving any more money because they are mad at Ken Martin. They're mad at the leadership. They're blaming him for not standing up hard enough, and it's obviously they believe they're not fighting hard enough, and they see what Trump's doing, and they think that they're just letting him get away with it. So you'll see the Democrats and the donor class are just unhinged, and because the Democrats, in other words, aren't far left enough, they aren't getting the money. You'll see some Democrats, they're trying to get out of the bed from those far leftists, but the far leftists, they keep grabbing them by the chest or by the hips or whatever to pull them back into the bed. The Democrat establishment, they're trying to get out, but they can't. And because they're doing that, trying to get out of the bed, they're losing money. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because obviously the Democrats are screwed in. So we're going to go ahead because obviously this was 11 days ago where Ken Martin is actually going to break down in tears out of frustration with David Hogg. Because David Hogg is of course a left-wing narcissist who, of course, wants to fall in line with the more of the Jasmine Crackett's, the AOCs, because he believes that swearing on the House floor, doing TikTok jib-jabs, and all that stuff is the way to attract voters. And Ken Martin's saying, "No, kid, this isn't how it works." And it isn't because of Ken Martin's breaking out of tears over that. No, David Hogg wants to primary talented Democrats like Josh Shapiro because he's not far left enough. And apparently he's angering the Palestine supporters. But the Palestine supporters are going to be mad at Democrats no matter what they do, because no matter one thing, because when it comes to these far leftists, you have to follow the left-wing platform to a T. And if you are conservative on one issue, like for instance, or as far as I know, they could be in support of Iran. And if the Democrats don't support Iran, we're done with you. These leftists are just far left, unhinged, off the wall, off the spectrum, off the political spectrum, left wing. And they're mad that the Democrats aren't off the spectrum, left wing also. But anyway, we're going to go ahead, even though they are, just clarifying, they are left, far left. But of course, you have leftists that even say that Bernie Sanders is right wing because he has some sort of conservative, like he criticizes and says over the trans and the woke issues, you must be right wing. You're falling into the right-wing talking points, even though if you say Bernie Sanders is right-wing, you're just the most stupid person on the planet. This guy, Bernie Sanders, he wants to turn the United States into Europe. This is a hardcore leftist. And it's just laughable if you have people that, for the people actually think that. So I want to go ahead, take a look and react to Ken Martin breaking down in tears. Of course, this is outdated. 11 days ago. 12 days ago, whenever this audio leak was released, allegedly by David Hogg himself, as Ken Martin's going to lash out at David Hogg for basically trying to contradict Martin's agenda and basically going off for trying to, after Hogg, trying to get rid of strong Democrats like Shapiro, who honestly is a strong Democrat. Has more testosterone than all the average Democrats. And, of course, you have David Hogg. He thinks he's too right-wing because he's a pro-Israel, he's a Jew, and that's intolerable. So Ken Martin's going to go after him, of course, and call out David Hogg. So let's go ahead and react to the said video.
For sure. But the longer we continue this fight, the harder it is for us to actually do what we all want to do, which is make a difference in this country again. So I deeply respect you, David. I too was looking forward to working with you, but this has created a situation, and I'll be very honest with you, for the first time in my 100 days on this job, and Jessica knows this, the other night I said to myself for the first time, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And partly not because of the stress and all the naysayers, right? I'm used to that. I've spent 14 years as a chair. I'm used to getting beat up on. But, this is really everything. From this election, this credentials report, and how Malcolm's been treated in this, to the fact the election itself, how Shasti and Gina were treated in this. I'm just quite frustrated to be in this position, because what you've done, whether you like it or not, or know it or not, David, is no one knows who the hell I am, right? I'm trying to get my sea legs underneath of me and actually develop any amount of credibility so I can go out there and raise the money and do the job I need to put ourselves in a position to win. And again, I don't think you intended this, but you essentially destroyed any chance I have to show the leadership that I need to. So it's really frustrating. Jane.
Yeah, obviously. So, yes, it is quite amusing. I just thought it's very funny. Like Greg thinks it's funny. This guy's a grown man throwing a fit, and he's crying because the job's hard. And, to be in David Hogg's defense, it's not Hogg's, not totally 100% his fault, because no one wants to give money to a party that frees MS-13 members, releases them out of jail to bring them back into the United States because they're allegedly average U.S. citizens. And we know they're not alleged. No, they are MS-13 members, because ICE, everyone thinks, ICE just takes a random Latino off the street and just deports him or her. No, they don't do that. They have to actually have multiple sources of evidence before actually taking that person and declaring that person an illegal alien. You actually have to know, okay, where is this illegal alien from? Where was he or she born? Where did he come from? What city did he originally come from? And how did he get here? Why did he come here? What is he a part of a gang? There's a lot of questions that ICE has to take before actually executing a deportation. So I think it's very stupid that all these social justice warriors, the social justice animals and the social justice clowns, they all come out and they're mad because they're deporting U.S. citizens even though they're not U.S. citizens. First off, I don't care if they committed a crime or not. I don't care if they have a family here, they raised a family here, or if they have a job here. You came in here illegally. That's contradictory to everything you did here. And because you came in here illegally, you gotta go. I'm so sorry. I really am. Because we don't enjoy ripping families apart. And the family and the kids can come home with you. But if we let you stay here, no one's above the law anymore. Because we let a million illegal aliens stay here illegally. That can't happen. We know we can't deport every illegal alien. And Biden and his stupid administration will forever be disgraced in the history and the generations of this country because of that. The blood will forever be on Biden's portrait, okay? Because of that. But going to mainly the said, John, why people are not falling in for Democrats, okay? It's A, no one wants to be associated with a party that simps for rapists. MS-13 is a rapist terrorist group, along with Tren de Aragua. They are a rapist terrorist group. Okay? Number 2, Democrats are still doubling down on men and women's sports. They're getting better, allegedly. I think they're just gaslighting. But you have leadership like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, they don't care. They want men and women's sports. You have leaders. You have the Democrats rioting, looting, stealing, committing acts of violence, and of course, senators not doing anything about it. Democrats doing nothing about it. Speaking of senators, you have senators getting arrested because they are actually busy trying to put illegal aliens first, not their constituents first. So I can understand why the donors aren't giving money in anymore. And honestly, we know these donors are far left. I'm talking about new donors. Democrats are usually the ones to get new donors. They aren't getting the new donors anymore because they aren't the party of morality anymore. They used to be thought of the party as morality. Equal rights, social justice, racial justice, equality. No. That's just talking points. Those are talking points and fake platforms to run on, to gaslight, and to virtue signal and to project. So people know this. Democrats care about people breaking the rule of law more. And obviously, the soul of the reason is Democrats. They're mad that Ken Martin isn't going. He is going after Trump. Quite obviously, he has a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. Obviously, look, the picture in the background. Trump is definitely on his mind and in his head 24/7. You can see here the picture of shark, a cringy little shark going after a Trump fish. Yeah, this guy's Trump's living rent-free in all of these leftists' head 24/7. Trump. And they have been they're going to be in Trump's head for another 12 years. It's quite honest. Imagine this. Trump derangement syndrome, where Orange Man lives in their heads 24/7, rent-free. And obviously, Ken Martin, he tries to do these silly images, which is cringeworthy, of baby Donald Trump shark over giant American shark going after the tiny little Trump shark, cute little Trump shark. Yeah, that's not TDS enough. That's not anti-Trump enough. You gotta do better than that. You can do these stupid Trump cartoons, these anti-Trump cartoons, which obviously exposes the cognitive derangement and mental illness of leftists. But you can clearly see that the DNC is in total disarray. in front of what is very, very contradictory to midterms, of course. They keep saying that Virginia, there's a Virginia race is going to be the mood of where the country is going to be. And I'm saying no. I'm telling you no. Because you got to remember, Virginia is a blue state. Okay? New Jersey is a blue state. Republicans are doing good in polls in New Jersey? Yes? The kind of close race it's indicating? But when it comes to actually the issue, when it comes to the status of these said states, they are Democratic. They are Harris plus 6 states. Virginia voted more left compared to in 2016. Trump did worse in Virginia compared to his 2016 run. So you can't not sit here and tell me because if Abigail Spanberger pulls off a win, which she very well likely will, this is going to be the general mood of the country and it's going to move blue wave. No, you can't tell me that. Because in 2021, Republicans did the best of the best. They won Virginia, a Biden plus 10 state, not only the governorship, but the lieutenant governorship and the attorney general's office. They also gained over 10 percentage points in New Jersey, a 10-point swing to the right in New Jersey, making it a possible battleground state in the near future, and putting the Democrats in the contest in 2025. Obviously, good year for Republicans in 2021, but when it comes to actually the what actually matters, and that being the what compared to what actually matters, which is in 2022, pretty much of a ripple. Everyone thought, 2021 is going to be the general mood of the country. That's what Republicans thought. It wasn't that way. And Democrats thought, with the amazing year they had in 2023, that was going to be the general mood of the country in 2024. Didn't work like that. So it kind of boggles my mind why analysts keep saying, Virginia's going to be the general mood of the country. Even though New Jersey, they totally say, what happens in New Jersey is so irrelevant. Even though, if they happen to win Virginia, Democrats, they happen to win Virginia, okay, good for you, I guess. But if they lose New Jersey, if they seriously lose New Jersey, they cannot say we won election night 2025. You lost a Kamala Harris state. That is devastating. And out of all, it's New Jersey. You would think Virginia would be a bit more conservative than New Jersey. Well, no, it's actually going the opposite direction. New Jersey, Republicans have the issues because Democrats were just so bad in that state. So it is going to be quite an interesting month in November coming up. So, but we are going to talk about the midterms in regards to, of course, the 2026 Senate election. And you'll see there are only really 3 main battleground states. Maine is somewhat of a battleground state. Now, if Susan Collins throws cold water at us out of spite and walks away, then I would say that Democrats kind of have a chance to win. Will win, in other words, the state of Maine. But you'll see Republicans already have the maximum amount of seats needed to win, 51. So obviously they've already won the Senate, if you want to be politically correct. But Democrats aren't looking to win the Senate. I'm sure if they could, they would really want to. They obviously want to. They know they can't, though. It's not up for grabs. It's not up for contest. What they want to do is they're looking to pick up and hold. They're looking to flip Maine and North Carolina, gain Senate seats. And the fact that you only have to gain 2 Senate seats, because honestly, there is a red wall, and the red wall is already being built in the Senate. And that being that, hey, Ohio used to be a swing state. It's not up for contention. It's going to be Republican. John Hudson, or whatever, Hunstead, whatever his name is, he's going to win. Ashley Moody, she's going to win her re-election. Florida's going to go solid red. Joni Ernst, their best hope. Well, maybe Joni Ernst would screw up. Well, Joni Ernst, it will very likely win her re-election. I know she underperformed her 2014 race in 2020. People say, "Oh, this is our chance." Joni Ernst is disliked, and we talked about that Joni Ernst. We didn't talk about her being primaried, which she does have a chance of staying in. But of course, looking at Iowa, she would likely win. Rob Sands, they don't have a good Democrat. Rob Sands running for governor, which is kind of contradictory, because if he wants to go and run to win, he would run into the Senate, specifically because Joni Ernst is a weak Republican, unpopular Republican. Sand is, of course, a popular Democrat in the state of Iowa. He would be the better option. But of course, Iowa Democrats, they have their time. Rob Sands been in the Iowa government for 8 years, and we've seen this very similar to, I want to believe, the Attorney General at one point in Iowa. Won every county. I believe in 2018 he swept the whole state against a libertarian. Not even a Republican wanted to challenge this popular Democrat, and he ended up losing re-election in 2022. So it was very interesting. So I don't think Rob Sands' governorship will be successful. Not to worry, but obviously their best goal, Democrats, their best goal is probably picking up North Carolina, taking out Tom Tillis, and Maine. And I'm telling you, the polls are very irrelevant, because Democrats, they got very excited in 2020 when they saw that it was very, very likely that Cal Cunningham would oust Tom Tillis, and that Gideon lady was going to take out Susan Collins, and that didn't happen. The polls were just so bad, and you would think that something similar to like this could happen again. Collins and Tillis, they're not necessarily the most popular senators, and you could expect that, you know what, there could be a lot of polls that will show gains for Democrats, and Democrats will once again be very excited, very happy, but then again, they haven't learned their lessons in, of course, North Carolina 6 years ago with Tom Tillis. The fact that Cal Cunningham was likely going to win, was leading in the polls by a 2.6 average according to Real Clear Politics. And here you have this guy. Here you let this guy eat your lunch, and yeah, it's just devastating, honestly. And yes, and not to mention 2014 polls tend to of course underestimate Tom Tillis. They said that Kay Hagan would win in 2014, incumbent senator. And she lost, surprising. Why? Well, low turnout. And I would also say Republicans, they are the high propensity voter in North Carolina. They are likely to show up. We've seen this in 2022. You had the whole Roe v. Wade issue in 2022 in an uncertain state like North Carolina. You have a lot of North Carolinians that want abortion. And you have these Democrats that really, really, really campaigned on the issue of abortion. This would be like the number one thing to get them out. And Democrats, they weren't having it. And out of them all, North Carolina's way more possible of banning abortion compared to, like Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's generally like compared to like Minnesota and Michigan when it comes to their abortion laws. So, and they came out a mess. Like they had something to worry about. But the fact that every single judicial nominee, one Republican in the judicial branch of things, managed to hold on to their seat. It's just ironic and mind-boggling. Like this, they were seriously thinking, like, I mean, judicial branch-wise, you would think that you want pro-abortion justices, and you can't even. None of the pro-abortion justices won in the most iconic year for abortion rights, quote unquote. So I think, like, when it comes to turnout, I just don't see it happening. I think Tillis is probably going to win under 4. And as for Susan Collins, I think it's more, she's actually more likely to lose than compared to Tillis. If you want to get my honest perspective of things, I think she's more in danger of losing than Tillis, because she's been in there longer, and not to mention she's older. We've already seen examples of elections where, you know what, they throw older politicians out. Like, I get Casey isn't old, but the problem with Casey was he's a senator from 2006. He was elected in 2006, and he's been there like for 15, 14 years. People are done with you. Okay? People are done with you. They're tired. They want to move on. So yeah, we elected Senator Casey in 2006. We elected, let's see, going back to 2026 elections, we elected Susan Collins in going all the way to 2002. No, not even that. 1996. We're talking about a senator that's been in there, sworn into office in 1997. Okay? And it's pretty damning that, okay, I'm calling out to say that it's going to be, Democrats have a chance, a good chance, actually, to take out Susan Collins. And that's probably the only race they're going to pick up. Yes, she is, of course, appealing to more liberal audiences. The former Republicans, now Democrats, still like her. The independents. And the fact that, really, you don't have people of name recognition coming out in this race. The fact that you got a guy from Maryland running in the said Senate. He ran for Senate 2024. David Costello running in this said Senate race. No one knows who he is. Wikipedia doesn't know who he is. They know he comes from the Maryland department. The fact that he doesn't even have a page is very irrelevant for him. He is unexperienced, obviously, and he comes from Maryland. He's a part of the former Deputy Secretary of the Maryland Department of the Environment, 2024. You have Jordan Wood, former Chief of Staff. So far it's looking pretty good for Susan Collins. She's expressed interest of actually running, and I'm encouraging her to run, and I hope no silly, I would call a MAGA Republican silly if they would dare challenge Susan Collins, because they seriously want to lose. They actually are doing it for their own benefit. They're not doing it for the gains of the party. No, they're just doing it for their own benefit. So honestly, I think it's packed and sold. If Tillis looks like he could win, Susan Collins looks like he's going to win, they build the red wall would be complete, and really Democrats would have to play defense in Michigan and Georgia. And in my view, when was the last time a Senate seat was never flipped in a series of elections? When was the last time that ever happened? That's a long time. We can actually look that up. When was that last time? Okay, we're going starting from 2024. Yeah, a lot. 2022 saw one seat flip. Or actually, how about this? Google. When was the last time was never a don't know if AI will understand or reform the question. Pretty bad wording. But Google, in other words, it looks like 1948. The last time the U.S. seat was flipped, but then again, we know that they're pulling up the 1948 elections. Obviously, they had a lot of seats flipped, but yes, you'll see the dark red, dark blue seats indicate a flip from either party, and you're seeing every single Senate election, there's at least indefinitely a one flip, and this isn't good for said. Like, I'm honestly, if Republicans hold North Carolina and Maine, and all they need is to get Susan Collins to run it. Susan Collins doesn't run, then forget it. Okay, this is so irrelevant what I'm about to talk about. If Susan Collins decides not to run, then forget what I'm about to say. But if Susan Collins runs, Tom Tillis is somewhat overperforming his polls from 2020. The Maine and North Carolina are locked up. Democrats have to play defense. I think it's very unlikely that it's just going to look the same, because it's never happened before where in a series of Senate races, a party failed, neither of the parties failed to carry or flip a seat. It hasn't happened before. And I would say very likely be a Republican gain in Michigan or Georgia. So Democrats, a very possibility and likely possibility, they're going to have to play defense in the Senate races, just like they're going to have to play defense in the governor's races. I mean, let's be honest. Democrats, they are not aiming to look at flipping seats. Let me remind you again. They think Rob Sand could very well win the elections. Well, then again, Rob Sand is a very popular Democrat. However, he's starting to get pretty irrelevant, okay? A lot of people are worried about Rob Sand, and what if he's going to take out the said Republican nominee? He could in a low turnout year. I mean, they could do it out of spite of Miss Reynolds, Governor Reynolds, who is pretty unpopular. But in this attorney general's race, you'll see how popular. This is 2018. Yeah, 51% to 46%. Then again, Sand appealing to a lot of rural areas, comparing to 4 years later where he runs for re-election. Yeah, he wins by like 0 point some percent. A lot of people are like, oh, well, Governor Bashir, he won by like 0 some percent. And I'm like, not necessarily. And you could say a map looked very similar to comparing these two maps to like the state treasurer map. Very close election. Michael Fitzgerald was the Democrat I was talking about. He was the treasurer. Just 4 years later, he held on to his seat in the treasurer's seat in Iowa by like double digits. It was a big win for the Democrats, keeping that said treasurer's seat blue. Like again, the election of 2014, somewhat. Yeah. I guess it wasn't Fitzgerald. I thought Fitzgerald was the Democrat that actually carried every county in Iowa at that point, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it actually might be that he might be. It might have been 2010, but honestly, he is a very good Democrat. But then again, they got tired of him. He lost, and I think the same is going to happen with the state governor's race, because Rob Sand pretty relevant in 2018, but Iowa got redder in 2022. It's gotten even redder now. And I just don't think he's going to take off in his campaign. You saw how unpopular Kim Reynolds was in Iowa, in the Iowa gubernatorial race. She still won by a lot, 58%. This is because Republicans are the high propensity voter, and because Republicans are the high propensity voter and the likely voters to turn out in these races, I don't think Democrats are flipping in Iowa. If they want to pour money into Iowa, let them do it. Let them screw themselves. They are guaranteed to lose one seat. That's not good. They're going to flip. Republicans are going to flip Kansas pretty aggressively. Even if the lieutenant governor runs in Kansas, it's still going to be done because a Democrat, it comes to a point in a solid red state like Kansas where a Democrat state, you have 8 years of Democratic control. You can't gain any more. And honestly, what we're seeing right now, I do think that it's going to not be leaning Republican. It's probably going to be likely same sad numbers in the 2024 election. But he said Democrats are going to have to really, really, really focus on going on the offensive. They want to think about taking out George Lombardo. Go ahead. But George Lombardo's proved himself to be very popular. I still don't understand why 270 to win is actually characterizing Nevada as a toss-up. They don't even know what they're saying. You have Sabuto's crystal ball saying this is going to be a leading Republican, rightfully so, because Joe Lombardo's trouncing the very popular Attorney General of Nevada, Aaron Ford, by over double digits. This guy's like the Ronald Reagan of Nevada. I'm telling you, he's going to win every county, and he's going to win it by 10 points in the state level. They're not flipping Nevada. It's going to be red for 8 years. And it's going to be, and that's just that. They're going to have to play defense in critical states. They're not going to flip Georgia, as far as I know. That state, Democrats don't have a good candidate. Let's see if there's any Democrats suggesting a run for their money. Okay, you have a couple Democrats declared. You got the former mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, very weak, very deranged. Derek Jackson, Jason Estevez, and a church founder. That's all I got. And meanwhile, you got a very popular Attorney General, Chris Carr, very well liked, very well respected. Very strong Republican, very popular. You saw he even gained momentum. Actually, not much momentum, but you see in the counties he has gotten a lot of respect in those African-American areas that he definitely needs. Yeah, like Clayton, for instance, Democrat county, voted for Kamala by 5 points, I believe, 4 points. He carried that county. He's also breaking the black belt. So I would say coming out here, yeah, I'm very happy to see Carr projected run this campaign. So honestly, I don't think they're flipping. It could be a close race. You could say, to be fair, it could be a 4-point win for Carr. But really, they're going to have to play defense in 3 states: Arizona, Wisconsin, and Michigan. You have a very popular Republican, John James, did very well in 2020 against a very popular senator, and that very popular senator being Gary Peters, 48, 49. Couldn't even get up to 50%. Then again, Debbie Stabenow back in 18, still relatively popular, but then again, James was still in arm's reach of Stabenow. 52%. But yeah, James is pretty popular. Now that he's a congressman, he kind of has a chance to actually flip in the said seat. You also have Tony Evers, which Wisconsinites are just not a fan of electing their governors to 3 terms. They're just not. And I'm telling you, Republicans, wake up, get out. What are you guys doing in Wisconsin? Wisconsin Republicans, what are you guys doing? Don't drop the ball again. You've dropped the ball already this year. You don't need to drop the ball again. You guys have to find a Republican. I'd say it's Tom Tiffany. But Republicans have an amazing opportunity to take out Tony Evers. Okay? This guy's underwater with approval. This guy's a dope head. Seriously. This guy goes around saying, out of pure ignorance and out of pure intimidations and over the LGBTQ and the trans community and great respects and gaslighting, we're going to call women unsentimented persons. Really? That doesn't appeal to Wisconsin swing voters. You gotta be kidding me. So, honestly, and you're not going to win this election with Josh Schumann. I'm sorry. I really hope that we'll step up the game. You have Tom Tiffany. His decision's expected in 2025. Patrick Teston, a state senator, is a candidate from the lieutenant governor's race. And I think it's very possible that that can be done. He could possibly win. You're not winning this race with Bill Berrien. For sure. No more of these no-namer. Who's this guy? Josh Schumann. No. Washington County Executive. I'd like to learn more. No. Honestly, you need a congressman. Tom Tiffany running, kick out Tony Evers, boom, done. You would relatively say it's a then again, it's a low propensity state for Republicans, so it's somewhat of the numbers. And I don't expect someone as weak as what's her name, Katie Hobbs, to keep her seat. I'm sorry, Katie Hobbs is unpopular. Yes, you got polls coming in, dropping in for her favorites, indicating a close race. I mean, Katie Hobbs is not even above water. 10 points underwater. 17% are saying they're undecided. Yes, people are not so sure that they want to get behind Andy Biggs. But you would say the exact same thing about Karen Taylor Robson, which seems to be more of the weaker candidate. But most of these networks are saying it's tossed up. This is the likely seat that Republicans are going to pick up. And yeah, it's not looking good for Democrats in the governor's races. It's pretty much 4 flips if this prediction or this analysis actually goes underway. And then you have the House races, which is really the only set of races that Democrats are expected to do well, in which a red wall really isn't really formed, but it's starting to form because you got some Senate seats that Democrats very well can really lose their marbles on. You have right now Republicans leading 208 seats to Democrats having 205 seats. You take a look at Maine 2nd, you saw Jared Golden constantly going down. Doesn't matter if he's running for re-election. He's still going to lose. Don't try to convince me he's not. Probably won't lose by a lot. But you saw in 2024 how much he fell. How much the swing, we can actually pull up Jackson Jew. This is going to be a long video and it's fine. You saw how much swing-wise that Mr. Golden lost to his Republican opponent. I think his Republican opponent very likely could have won. Oh, it was Trump cocktail. Well, I would say sure. Yeah, that could be the case. Well, Trump cocktail's not going to be around in 2022. And Democrats are the high propensity voter. Well, that's also true. But you do have Susan Collins. That would help. And then again, I don't think cocktails, it doesn't matter. I think Golden has gone too far. He's lived his career. He's been in the House for over 8 years. They're done with him. This is a Trumpian district. Cocktails are not needed in a Republican district like the 2nd district. It is what it is. I want to actually pull up PASO comparing past elections versus past elections, in regards to, you'll see. Look at compared to 2022, a 5.5 shift to Farrell. That isn't good. That's pretty much an inevitable flip for Republicans there. You got Alaska, that's likely to keep. Arizona, looking at how Arizona trended, and it's probably going to look like you have, these seats here. They think they're going to flip Arizona 1. This seat's trending to Schuart by 2.9. Republicans are gaining. You have Kiskamani. He's gaining by 1 point in the 6th district. So as far as I'm concerned, District 1 and District 6, they are called. And in California, depending on how it turns out, if you know, I do think we kind of have to wait on California. The 13th district, it just went to the left by 0.51. It really, I don't think it's just going to trend to the left to gray, just simply because you have the Republican coming from an important area that will appeal to the Hispanic voters in this very Hispanic county. Hispanic sort of person running in an area, a community that's a swing bellwether community. I'm not going to probably skip California as of right now. But going to like Colorado, I'm just going to go over to the very the counties that I know, the districts that I know for sure are callable as of right now. We'll leave Dave Evans' district alone. Connecticut, Delaware, Florida. Yeah, you have Jared Moskowitz district. That is somewhat in reach. You have Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. We're skipping over the ones with no districts. Iowa. Now, if you do the right thing and you kick out, you do the right thing and you kick out this disaster, what's her? I'm blanking on her name. She's so irrelevant. Miller Meeks, yes, Miller Meeks. Get Miller Meeks out. Marinette Miller Meeks. This is her third term, and she's running. And it's absolutely a disgrace. You primary her out. There's a very likely chance that you can save this district. But problem, if we don't primary, then we'll probably have to call this district for Democrats. I mean, it's hard and difficult to see, but that's a very reality. So you're going to have to surrender that district if Miller Meeks is running. She's a disaster. This seat swung to the left by 6.6. This is absolutely disgraceful. Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, we already called Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan. Michigan, I'd say Michigan's tossed up. This district, John James seat's pretty much called. Let's see if that agrees. Yeah. Yeah, and even Barrett's gaining huge swing. And I think maybe, is it because of a Trumpian win? I'm not so sure. We'll leave it as of right now. It's kind of, it's a part of that Rust Belt. And depending on how Michigan goes, that could really hurt my projection. Let's just say Don Bacon, depending on how he performed this time around, he did do a 0.82% leftward, maybe, and that's good compared due to the suburban Democrats and the suburban woman not going to, that you think that Democrat there for sure would have benefited. Like Vargas would have gained a lot due to Harris cocktail, but that was not the case. You could say that we pick up the 2nd district. Going to you see Nebraska, Nevada, we have New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York. New York's going to be a difficult one. New York, and depending on, if you get Zoran Mandami as mayor, it could very well determine and swing these districts, even kick Tom Suozzi out of power. It does not make you look good to be associated with goonballs like Mondani and Hochul. So I wouldn't get my hopes up over it. I would say, we don't want Mondani to become mayor, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in the future, about that mayoral race, that critical mayoral race. But if Mondani becomes mayor, hey, you can't necessarily be coping about it, because Republicans can get some cocktail effects due to the outrage of the constituents towards the Mondani administration in New York, if that's possible to happen, and a Hochul, a rise up against Hochul, which very well could happen. You also have North Carolina. I think Don Davis has hit his wall. We can actually look at that North Carolina. Yeah, 3.1%. I think he's hit his wall. You could say we kick him out, Don Davis. I mean, Red Eagle is saying we could kick him out. I'll say he's not wrong. You have Ohio. We make the redistricting in 13th and 5th districts. You are just one seat away, and Oregon, Pennsylvania, that's a seat that a lot of people are pressing on. You say, hey, we somehow get Scott Perry I don't know, another term. You'll see, although it looks pretty bad for him on paper, his seat's shifting pretty left. So I don't see him picking it up. In other words, I'll just leave it as of right now. It's just swinging too far to the left, and just Republicans are low propensity voters in Pennsylvania. Rhode Island, but guess what? There are many other opportunities. You go to Texas, and I'm telling you, if you get this Henry Cuellar guy running for that said position for a re-election, his 11th term as a convicted felon, that seat, what she's holding, has gone swiftly 7 points for Trump. It's become very Trumpian. You'll see Cuellar has already lost said 7 points in this seat. He did relatively very well. Solid Democrat, not really solid anymore, and being a said convicted felon, and this seat going to a 7.9 point margin for Trump doesn't make him look good. You also have, of course, Maria Flores doing very well, and Gonzalez doing poorly. You could say we flip the 28th district, and we go, if the 28th district falls, so does Vicente Gonzalez's seat. He could somewhat pick it up another term. I'm not sure. But again, a lot of people seem to trust the trends of where Texas is going. You also have Virginia. I think Republicans will keep that 2nd district. It's trending favorably in their direction. Washington, I think, it really does depend if that conservative lady, Glusenkamp Perez, it's shifting in her direction. I think it's not ready yet. It's acting like the de facto main 2nd district, in other words. So really, you have 9 tossed up seats that I can't really tell you which way it's going to go. I'll tell you, Gabriel Vasquez is probably going to win. And as for Derek Von Orden, you could see Democrats possibly pick it up. I'm not going to call it. I don't even know why the New Jersey 7 is not called. But yeah, you see Republicans do have a path. You got 221 seats. Of seats that I feel can very well go Republican. So, and not much for Democrats. They're sitting at 207. I mean, Democrats can pick up Scott Perry's seat. they could get away with taking out Tom Barrett, taking out Derek Van Orden, and maybe flipping Marinette Miller-Meeks if she happens to be the nominee, and I hope she's not. That's a very big liability. And even flip out take out Gabe Evans. But Republicans could very well gain from the opposite cocktail effects in California. Along with this said New York, which I guarantee you are really underestimating the effects that in like those riots, Los Angeles riots, the businesses, Hispanic voters, you gotta have to really look at it the way it is. I think you could possibly see Orange County be very Republican there. You also have the opposite cocktail effect. I'm going to go out exterior now. Here we go. You could see Josh Harder and how his seat goes. We could see a surprise there. It really does depend. You're going to see a huge shift in the right, dramatic uprising among Californians in November next year. And even much of an aggressive uprising, because you got a corrupt governor running for re-election and a silly mayor, whether that be Andrew Cuomo or, of course, Andrew Mandami, who I do see becoming mayor, because I'm sorry, they keep electing these lunatic mayors. Cuomo's career is absolutely garbage, and Mandami's come out as a very charismatic, well-spoken politician, wants to give everyone free stuff. A lot of people don't like him, but it doesn't matter. You're in the Democratic primary, and when you talk about free stuff, you're probably going to win. So honestly, you pretty much see the writing on the wall from there. It's not looking pretty good for Democrats. Obviously, when you have your leader, Ken Martin, crying on the phone with, of course, I would say it was on the phone, but a audio message, crying like a baby, low testosterone man as he is, lashing out at David Ogg because of his job is so hard and tough. It doesn't make you look very good. It doesn't make you look very masculine, very low IQ. And he says he wants to give up. He hasn't even spent 4 months. You haven't even had a year yet, Mr. Ken Martin. You don't stand a chance. So anyway, I don't know why 1962 is up, but it's not good, of course, for Ken Martin. It's not good for the DNC. They want to go gaslight and tell everyone how bad it is what Republicans are doing. No kings. People are rioting. The National Guard was deployed because our leaders are so incompetent they can't protect their own citizens. They want to go ahead and do that. I'm telling you, this is what they're trying to do. Use the media. Media is bought and sold. They're gaslighting, and they're, of course, trying to distract the American people on what the Democratic Party really is, what the problems they are facing. So anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.